Hey everybody, it's Susie Chicago. I'm back and we are 100% video now. This is our first all video podcast and I'm so excited. I'm building an actual studio. I took out my art studio, not all of it, but most of it. I'm taking it out and I'm building an actual studio so people can sit with me and we can chat and have a coffee or a tea or whatever you drink. I don't care. Uh, and so this is like my virgin episode for this. I'm wearing something that's, bright as usual. I can't help it. And for those of you who were there, I just filmed my first special and I filmed it in California and it was, well, I'll have to just do an episode about that because it was a lot to unpack. But today, of course, for my first video guest, I have an incredible woman who is not only beautiful to look at, but she is beautiful inside. And I have loved her since I saw her with Etta May. She was just a little young chick then. And then I saw her again through Honest Fox's showcase that they had, and I didn't get to meet her. I met some of her friends. She used to do a podcast, or I don't know if she's going to do it again, with Karen Mills, little K. And I met Karen. And anyway, she's here. Say hello to everybody, Trish.
Hey, y'all. Oh, those of you, doll. I'm so excited to finally meet you in person. I know we've been virtual friends,
Yes.
but now we are in real life
Yes.
friends. And I
Yes.
love that you're building a studio in the house. I don't know that I'd want anybody in my house.
Well, part of it is because my husband's home a lot. I just can't be
understand.
going out. So, life is
understand that.
changing for us. And I just sold my convertible
What kind of convertible was it? Sis? Talk
VW
to me.
Bug, white with a tan top. Yeah.
What a fun. I bet you were a mean mamma jamma on the streets in that.
I was. And, I got so much sun cancer on my face and stuff. I would park it at my dermatologist. I park in back so she couldn't see that I drove a convertible.
I am crying. Wait, let me ask, was it a newer bug or the older bugs?
Well, this is my fourth one.
So is it the one that has the vases in it? You know what I'm talking about? The little
Yeah,
bugs?
it was from 2014 and I only had 50,000 miles on it, and we have another car and I've driven one though since it was my first car and it was my last car. And
I love that.
I blessed it when I brought it to, what do you call that? CarMax.
Yeah,
And when I brought
yeah.
it there, I took it over to the side where you drop them off and I said, Lord, please let the next person who has this car have as much fun as I did in this car and have a wonderful time with it. This car has been a gift to me and it's been just a blessing.
Oh,
And so
Susie, I love
I
that
let
you
her
said
go.
that was very Marie Kondo of you, and I'm very proud. Well, it is. It's a very to appreciate and give gratitude to the things that
Yes.
we're given, and when we pay them forward, or they are no longer part of our lives in that regard, to give it that blessing. You don't realize that you are. You do it when you sell a house. You do it if you're gifting
Mm-hmm.
something to charities, and I love that your heart did that. That's so
Oh,
sweet. And
thank
whoever's
you.
getting that is not going to understand. Maybe they will.
Maybe they
Why
will.
they're having such a darn good time.
Yep. Yep. Well, they will. They're going to have fun. Anyway, I want to give a little intro to Trish before I get any further. And if I forget something, please forgive me. But I mean, she has been on so many things. Clean House. She did that. She's on the Daily Draw game show. This is a hard working woman in show business, let me tell you.
You
She
sweet
did over
thing.
300 episodes of Yard Sale Diva. That's
Oh,
where
that
you
was
love.
Clean House.
That was Clean House. Sorry.
Yeah.
Clean House. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of television.
And I
Very,
need you to
very
come
grateful.
here and do that. Do you know what a Swedish Death Cleanse is? Have you
Of
ever
course
heard of
I
that?
do. Honey, I was raised in the funeral business, and Swedish death cleaning, first of all, is brilliant. I do it. It's how I've always cleaned, not knowing that was how they do it. If you've not read the book, please
Oh,
read
yes.
the book. It's translated from the Swedes, so there's no filter, so it's a little harsh. Just be ready. It's not like I'm Southern, so I'm used to all the sugar on something and
Yeah.
the glaze.
Yeah, let's gloss it over a little. Yeah.
Yeah, but the philosophy is this.
Yeah.
While you're alive, you should give away the things that you love and you want people to have in honor
Mhm.
now, so that number one, you give the story behind it, but B, number two, all your crap doesn't end up in a dumpster, all the stuff that you've been hanging on to, and then you actually have some freedom in the living in this life, in this land, that you're not having to carry around all this extra weight mentally,
Yes.
physically, all the things. And I'm a
Yes.
firm believer in that. Firm believer.
Me
So
too. And
I
I'm a
love that you
shopping
said
bag
that.
girl. Do you know that mentality? If something
No.
comes, okay, so we used to live in Albuquerque, and we live in Santa Fe too, in a huge house with a guest house, and we moved to a one-story 1,600 square foot track home in Southern California, which I come from a family of architects. They are rolling in their graves right now because this house has nothing
Wait, so
architectural.
where are you in Southern
I'm
California?
in San Diego. We are close.
Girl, had you told me, I will come down for an in-person podcast when I'm down there.
Okay.
And I love San
Okay.
Diego. But isn't there something to be said, Susie, about one level living? Like,
Oh,
I'm obsessed with it. I say this because I sold my house in Atlanta. It was my just dream to I manifested this house. And it was 5,500 square feet. It was stunning on 2 acres. It was a big black beach barn. It was gorgeous.
ooh.
I didn't need any of that. But I didn't need all that space. It was me. There were rooms I didn't walk into for months. And I looked at
That's
my
how our
husband.
house was.
Right?
Mhm.
And I looked at my husband one day and I said, "What are we doing? This is ridiculous." So we moved out to Southern California. I live in a one-level Southern California Spanish-style ranch that I'm obsessed with in an old 1970s tract home neighborhood that I'm obsessed with. Obsessed with it. And it's 2,000 square feet because I converted the garage. So I want to say it was probably 1,800-ish before I converted the garage, and it's all living,
about
which is what I'm
1,700.
sitting in.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I'll tell you, I'm never not going to live with one level living again. I love it. It's so easy. Our dogs, I live in a really nice dog house, is what I tell people.
And I share mine. They let me live here with 2
Same.
dogs, 2 cats. My husband's a cat guy. I'm not a cat person. And I have 3 chickens still from my days on the farm because
Do they
I
lay
was a
eggs?
farmer. Well, they used to, but they're like me laying an egg now. I mean,
I'm crying.
they're a little bit old for that. However, they are my folly, and they are the most beautiful chickens. If you come, you will see. I have one that's a Japanese one with
Those
white
crazy fun
feathers.
hair.
Yes, and I have another one with even bigger hair. That's Matilda. She's the yard boss. She's in charge of the whole place. And then I have, if you watch Andy Griffith, I have a very chubby gray and white hen with feathers on her feet, and she's Aunt Bee.
Of course she's Aunt Bee. I already knew where you were headed, and I was here for it. Oh, I bet they're sweet. Do they get along with the dogs and the cats?
Well, they never
Or vice
really.
versa?
Well, my golden doodle gets along with everyone. I mean, if we had robbers come in our house, she'd say they seem nice to me.
We have talked about our golden doodles.
Yes.
How old is your golden doodle?
She's 7 now. How old's yours?
7, dude. Dude the doodle. He is 7 years old, and I say all the time, he's the boss of me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, "Why don't you get your dog those buttons?" I was like, he talks enough with squeaky toys. If I got him buttons, he would start the day with an iPad and be like, "You're late. You're late, and we're behind. And I don't know what you think we're going to get done today. It's only 6:15."
Yeah.
Like he gets up with the sun. He's the busiest dog I have ever had in my life.
Really, she is not busy. She is, when we got her from the breeder, she's from Stockton, California. And if you've ever been there, it's how I got a cheap doodle because they're about half the price in Stockton because it's half the price to live there. I mean, they pay people $5,000 a year to move there. That's not enough.
Listen,
anyway.
I know I've been to Stockton. It's different. It's different.
Yeah. So when I got her, I asked the breeder, I was the first pick, I want the doorstop of the puppies. And she said, "The what?" I said, "I want the one that doesn't come to you first." I mean, I've had a lot of dogs in my life. I don't want the alpha. I want the one as the Zeta. I want the one who's just bringing up the rear because they're pushing her. So, so we would watch the two doorstops of the litter, and we'd watch them every week through Zoom in this kiddie pool. And we picked Gigi because she was the slowest, and she is the most calm dog. She's a dog for old people. She doesn't pull on the leash. She doesn't do any of that stuff.
No.
She just is so love. She's just a love.
How big is she?
65 pounds.
So she's a full-size doodle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, because that's the dude is, he's asleep right now, but I'd have him come on and show y'all. His head's bigger than mine.
So is Gigi's.
You get it.
Puff.
Big, yeah, full big doodle. But I say that because he was the calmest. He was the runt. And
Really?
he faked us out. He faked us out. Yeah.
Oh, that
So, let me
sneaky
tell you
devil.
something. He was like, and he chose me, and he kept coming up like, "What's your story?" And all his other brothers and sisters were like way more energetic. And I thought, nah, I don't want no part of that. And he was a loner. He's kind of hanging out. And I thought, oh, well, he's sweet. And he came over and untied my shoe. And I was like, "You're neat." And then I didn't think anything of it. But this is what we found out, because there were 12 in his litter.
12. Oh, she only had
Mama
8.
was, I know,
Yeah.
12. And I say this because my husband, I don't have the bandwidth for it, but my husband is on a text thread with all of the parents.
All the people?
Yes. And dude is the biggest in the litter.
Oh, of course.
And unfortunately, the smartest, because we'll tell them
Because they're
stuff, dude.
smart.
Y'all, it's like having a child in a dog suit. It's like having a 5-year-old. There he is. He's
I
very
think
busy.
she's smarter than some of my children.
We can confirm over here. We can confirm that in our house.
And the favorite child.
Well, I tell the kids all the time that. I tell them all the time, y'all better decide who loves dude the most, because that's who's getting the money and the will, whoever's taking care of the dog. Because we're leaving everything in a trust to these dogs. And they're like,
oh, yeah.
What? I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely.
You get it.
Karl Lagerfeld left all his money to his cat, the designer. And I have a hat that has the cat in diamonds, not real diamonds, but, rhinestones on it, because I love that. He loved that cat. I don't feel that way about our cats. They're Bob's cats, but I do feel that way about my chickens. The cats love me. They love me the most of anyone.
Okay, wait, here's a real question. This is because I was raised as a funeral kid. If
I got to get into this. I want to hear about you.
If y'all don't know me from a ditch, I was raised in the mountains of southeastern Kentucky, and my family's in the funeral business. So I have a very comfortable relationship with all things surrounding death. Okay,
me too, because you know why? I was a medical illustrator. No, I had a farm too, but I was a medical illustrator, so I drew dead people all the time. I love it.
To me. Wait, we're going to unpack that. What do you mean? What is a medical illustrator?
Okay, so back in the day when I was an art major and I could draw anything. Now I don't think I could, because I'm not doing it all the time. What was a good job? They didn't want me to be a painter or a ceramist or something like that. You couldn't make money. So either be an art therapist, which I also became because that was practical. I'm very bad at practicality. Terrible.
Me too.
It's for other people.
It's for other people. I wasn't built for that life.
Exactly. But if I was a medical illustrator, I would work for companies that made textbooks or medical models or whatever, and they got a good hourly rate. And my parents wanted me to have something to fall back on. And so I had to go to med school to learn real anatomy. And then I had to draw all cadavers, lots of cadavers.
Yeah, lots of cadavers.
And I fell in love with bones, Trish. I have, which will be in my podcast studio. I have 2 life-size medical model skeletons in my house. Sam 1 and Sam 2.
I love this.
I know, and I dress them up. And I took them around the world for a year and took a picture every day with them and put them. I had a blog. This was back when people did blogs.
So you need to make that into a coffee table book.
That's what people say, and I feel like I'm the only person who wants to read it.
Oh, no. Did you not know the story about Meow, this dipsticky book on Amazon? Do you know this?
No.
Get it for your husband.
Okay.
It's a book with a picture of a cat on the front. I'm not kidding. I'll send you a link to it. And I forgot the author. That's not the important part. There's a picture of a cat, and you open it up, and it's 300 and something pages, like 360. It's like a weird 362 pages. And on every single word on this book is meow, meow, meow.
That's it?
That's all. Meow, 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 meow. It's all.
Meow, 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 meow.
It's for sale for $19.99. And that book has made 6 figures. So I say this to say, don't you dare
cat-loving friends.
Do not poo-poo your dreams of Sam 1 and Sam 2, Thing 1 and Thing 2, traveling the world, living their best lives as an illustrated coffee table book. And then if you put the why in the introduction, you think I'm kidding, you'll be selling. Think about I know how many funeral homes would love to just have that as a coffee table book.
Well, I do love a funeral home. My good friend for 30 so years, he's no longer with us, but he worked at a funeral home in summer in Coons Lake, Indiana. And he worked in the funeral home, and I would pump him for stories about it because I wanted to know about it. And I love going to funerals. There's a movie called Harold and Maude. It's an old movie.
Yes.
Where Maude, and my kids call me Maude because, she goes to the funerals for entertainment and she likes a good funeral.
My mother-in-law, she loves the celebration of life. Loves it.
Yeah. So anyway, tell us about growing up in the funeral business because, if anyone's childhood, I don't know what a happy childhood is, but that seems like one to me.
It was really happy. It's funny. I think because you're around so much as a family, when you're around so much grief, they work extra hard to balance it with levity, right? And that's really, I never really noticed. Like, I didn't know it was, so obviously I didn't think. I was probably about 10, maybe 11 years old, and I was like, oh, this isn't normal. Like, it started to dawn
My
on
other
me.
friends don't do this.
Yes, it didn't hit right? And my family never really they didn't bring it up. We didn't live physically in the funeral home, which was awesome. But we're there every day, so it's part of our life. So I didn't think anything of it.
And let me stop you. How big was
Mhm.
the town you were in?
Tiny, it's smaller now. Right now it's at 8,000 people. I want to
Mm.
say we're probably back in the day, it was probably 12 to 15,000.
That's
I mean, I
small.
say that, yeah, it's tiny. I mean, and everybody knows your business. I always say it's help people wireless. Like, you didn't have to be before a cell phone. People already
Who
knew.
needed the internet?
No, that comes and this is the truth too. You know, where I grew up, now there's some local coffee shops. But there's no coffee shops. There was no, gathering. Everybody came in the funeral home in the morning because they knew we had fresh coffee, and they'd come in to get a cup of coffee and be like, "Who y'all got?" I mean, that's how my childhood was, and I'd be like, "Well, let me
Got.
check." Yeah, who y'all got? Like, it was kind of the normal
Yeah,
question, and I'd
and
be
it
like, "Oh,"
was.
and then you tell them who it was, and they'd be like, "Lord bless it. Boy, did she live a life, didn't it, Lord?"
Oh my
And somebody'd carry on, and it was just to me, that was a very normal existence.
Mhm.
And the only thing that I think was probably a little like, that might be different was, I grew up playing hide and seek in the casket showroom. That was pretty
Ah!
normal. That was normal to me, wasn't normal to others. Some kids were freaked out to come over and hang. Most kids
Mhm.
weren't. They didn't care. And that
Ugh.
our Christmas, for sure, most holidays, but Christmas happened really early in the morning for us because
Mhm.
Christmas is one of the busiest days in the funeral
It is a
business.
busy day, I heard. Why do they know why?
You know, it's a tough time, as we know. Loneliness is an epidemic.
Mm.
Sometimes too, for people, they decide this is the day they're going to go meet Jesus on his birthday. So, I mean, everybody's got their thing. I don't know. It's really, I think, a true time of year, even seasonally, if you want to get into cyclical living, that
Uh-huh.
things are, dying for
Dying. Mhm.
rebirthing and all the
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
But it is traditionally a busier time in the funeral business. So I say that to
Okay.
say our family did Christmas usually around 3 to 4 in the morning, like, and they would
That's
always,
really early.
well, they do this lore, like, "We just missed Santa." Like, they would wake us up like, "Oh, you just missed him." We thought, "Oh my, if I only slept lighter," right? Like,
Oh, I
you
miss him too.
yeah, I'd come down in a fury, and there'd be like a trail of carrots that were ate from the deer, and the cookies were gone, and I'd like, and then and all the magic was there, and I was like, "Oh my Lord!" I'd get so excited. Little did I know it's because they knew people start waking up around 5 or 6 and find their loved ones passed or that hadn't woke up. And our phone at the house, we had a separate bat phone line to the funeral
Had a
home
bat
into our
phone.
house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pre-cell phone, everybody used to have this weird rotary phone with no dial. Take you back to how old I
Yeah,
am.
that's a bat phone. That's
Yeah,
the president's red
that was the
phone.
president's phone.
Mhm.
Ours was black with no rotary, and it had a ring like it was European to me because it went bing,
Ooh.
bing, and I was like, "Ooh, we're fancy." And,
Ooh,
we
we're
had a different
dead.
ring. Yeah, and you had to be real respectful when everybody was going to answer that phone. It was like dead silence, pardon the pun, and it was just pure quiet, and then you'd answer that phone differently, and then
Oh,
you would
sure.
know, and that was it. And so our Christmas morning was usually over around 5 to 6 a.m.
Wow.
as a child. So
Wow.
that's the only thing where I kind of realized we were different. But
Mhm.
for the most part, we're funny. My family, big Italian family. Everybody's real fun, real
You're
funny.
Italian. My husband's 100% Italian.
Is he 100%
You get
Italian?
this. I get this all
Yeah.
the time. You
We're
better pay
hand
attention.
talkers. Oh, big hand talkers. We'll feed you even if you don't need to eat. We're like,
Oh,
you look like you're
oh,
gonna fall over if you don't get food.
yeah.
And everybody's like, I just ate. Well, how long ago? Like,
Yeah, not like no, you didn't. You're eating now.
if you're not eating walking in the door,
Uh-huh,
you're not eating,
uh-huh,
and we're always fixing you a plate. Like,
uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
is an Italian way. So I think for me, everybody was so full of life and so fun that I
Mhm.
didn't realize we were in a constant state of being around people's loss.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's why I went into comedies. I would always be around people not knowing, I think. People were grieving. And I
Mm,
loved making people laugh, not
me too.
realizing they were at their heaviest,
Yeah,
you know. And
yeah.
that's
That's a
something
big
that
lift.
it's a big sister, preach on that. It is a big lift.
Mhm.
And I believe, and I'm sure I feel this way. Comedy's a calling. I don't think anyone goes, I'm going to get into comedy because I'm going to be wealthy and famous. If you are, get out now.
Well, when I was younger, yeah, I did a little stint at Second City, And I didn't have any intention of ever being on the stage, and I had never been on the stage, and I had horrible stage fright. But my director said, it's too bad Elaine Boozler's already taken, because I had hair like hers and I looked a lot like her. And I was,
Well,
when
poo-poo to
I,
that teacher because there's room for everybody. F
well,
him.
yeah. But then I forgot about it. And then I was in the South. I was in South Carolina with a mastermind group, because I also have a mind for business. And I was with this mastermind group, and they said, "What? We don't feel like your business that you're doing is really your thing. You know what?" And I said, "Well, no, but it makes a good living, and we do things to
Susie,
earn
what
a
was that?
living."
Listen, look at me. I'm going to interview you. I've got bigger questions here.
Okay.
What was that?
Okay. Well, two things. My husband is a very famous knife maker.
Well, that couldn't be more specific. Okay, talk to me about what kind of knives.
Well, he started out
pocket
making
knives?
yes, but he started out making tactical fixed blades for military, and he was in Central America. He says he ran a jade jewelry shop, but we know what he did in Central America.
Allegedly. Just put allegedly in front of it. And he's Italian. Yeah, we know better.
Yeah. So anyway, he ran his knife making business like a hobby. And I grew up in a gift shop. We had a family business too. My mother had a gift shop, and so I learned a lot about business from that. And so I said to him, you could actually make money at this. You're making good money. And he was very famous. He wrote a book and whatever. I said, but you could really do much better, like licensing your stuff out. So I began, when I retired from the movies, I began to work in his business, and I started to build the business, and it's really big now. We have licensing deals in 12 countries. We have so many people making his knives. He's, for a guy his age, most guys are done. He's just getting started. He's got Instagram. He's got 38,000 followers on Instagram, which for an 82-year-old, I know, that's what I did. So anyway, the point is, I did very good at that, but it's not my thing. I'm not, he always said to me, would you like to learn to make a knife? Let me tell you, Trish, if I went in that shop, and I'm sure I could grind a blade, because my undergrad in art was metals, I could grind a blade, but he'd chain me to the machines. I would never get out of the shop. He'd have me in there working. I don't want to do that. So anyway, so they said, well, what would you do if you could just do anything? And well, I can't say who it was. It's a secret group. But anyway, a very famous therapist was in the group, and she said to me, well, what would you do if, your parents weren't here and you didn't have kids and whatever? I said, I'd be a stand-up comic. She said, oh, well, you've been making us laugh all weekend, so that doesn't surprise anybody here. So last night I'm in South Carolina. She says, we have a gift for you. I'm looking for a bag. I'm looking for a box. I'm looking for something with a bow. She said, we got you 10 minutes at a mixed open mic in town. I said, 10 minutes? I don't have an act.
Yeah, and 10 minutes feels like 2 days if you don't have an act.
Well, but I could talk. I could spin a yarn.
If you can tell a story, it's a different bag of chips.
Yeah. And that day I happened to get a text from someone you ever get these that are meant for someone else? And it said to me, you will be my slave for the entire day.
What in the world?
That's what I said. You got the wrong girl. And so I got up on stage and I said, we're all young people. And I was the only comedian. There were a lot of musicians and poets and whatever. And I said, if I'm not funny, blame those people at that table over there, because they signed me up. I didn't know I was coming until an hour ago.
So it was literally everything. Musicians,
everything, mixed
poetry.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would say the poetry isn't going to probably be published, but anyway. And I love country music, a lot of country music. And so the bug bit me. That's how I got into it. The bug bit me.
And when was that? How long ago was that?
That was in 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
What is your favorite thing about stand-up?
Making people laugh.
And what is your least favorite thing about stand-up?
The show business part of it. The comedy clubs remind me of strip clubs. As a movie costumer, I worked in every strip club in New Mexico, not as a stripper, but as dressing. Because every director wants them to be in the strip club. They goes, let's do a scene in the strip club.
It is very New Mexico. Yeah. It is a very New Mexico. Yeah.
Anyway, and lots of other shows, you'll see strip clubs and other shows. It depends on the show. Yeah. So anyway, and comedy clubs have sticky tables and dirty bathrooms as a rule. And it's a man's game, right? It's pretty much men.
And they're all designed by men, because you get in them and you're like, why does every green room look like a frat room with candy and PlayStations? I don't understand what demographic, because most of the good comics anyway, and I know I'm being very, very narrow here. But
that way. Preach it, girl.
most good comics, even the men at this point, they want magnesium. They don't want a couch they're sticking to. They want something that feels a little more peaceful, not like, whose DNA just got on my britches as I sat down on this. We need to retrain the comedy clubs of yesteryear.
Well, there's one in San Diego. They have several that are owned by 2 women, and I'm hoping to have them on the podcast. It's Mic Drop Comedy. Come do a show. I'd like to put together a show of some women that I know.
Somebody just brought that up. Sarah Hyland. Sarah Rose Hyland, if you know her. Sarah loves Mic Drop.
Yeah.
That's right. I need to get down there.
You need to come down here. Let's put together a show and come on down here. I mean,
I love San Diego.
They're really open. I'm going to have 2 women on that produce shows in San Diego, and they do older women. You know, that's my lane. My lane isn't 21-year-olds doing DICK jokes. I can swear. I can spell swear here, can I?
First of all, even when I was 20, and I've been doing this since I was 23 years old.
Really?
Yes. I have never, ever has that ever been my lane. Ever. Because it is much harder to work clean. It is. At any age. And clean doesn't mean you're doing church comedy. I love to say that to people. Like, get your head out of your butt. And by the way, in real life, my worst, I don't smoke. I drink rarely because I'm Italian. You know, it's like maybe a glass of wine with a meal. I don't have any vices. I cuss like a trucker in real life.
Well, I did in the movies. The F word was so versatile, I found.
Well, and my brother's a Navy SEAL, so he always says I can out-cuss him in real life, but I do not do it on stage. I will not do it on stage. I think it's tacky. And it's ironic because in real life, I will expletive something. If I stub my toe, I will never take the Lord's name in vain, but you'll hear some nasty mess out of my mouth.
Me too.
So I'm with you. Comedy needs to be cleaner, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. So anyways, that's how I got started. And then I took a class because where do you get stage time? And in comedy, people say, it takes a long time to get an hour. Well, I know why. They only give you 3 minutes. LA, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes. Now I'm up to about 20 in some places, which is fast. And these little young boys are like, why? This is what I tell them. They go, why did you get a special? You've only been doing it a year and a half. I said, because I'm going to die by the time you've been this 20 years, because I don't have your kind of time, buddy. I said, I am on the fast track. And I said, I'm an A student. I don't like school.
Experience is your best teacher, honey.
Yeah. And I said, I've been around a long time. I got a lot to tell you about.
That's right.
So anyway, but you're no kid. I look at you and I think in a comedy business, men must be crazy for you. I mean, do you have that problem? I mean, I don't have it anymore because I'm an old lady, but you must
first
have
of all,
them.
don't you say that about my friend. You're not old. You're fabulous. And I don't like the word old. I like the word experience.
Okay. I like a seasoned.
Yeah, I'm 51. I mean, I'll tell anybody my age any time of the day of the week. I've been doing this since Christ was an official child. I was invited to the Last Supper, lost my invitation. I love what I do. And I think in the business of comics and all the nonsense, and I've dated all the people back in the day. Thank God I've got a wonderful husband now. I don't get bothered by comedians. I'm like everybody's sister and they know it. Like I've done this so long that I just love everybody and I love them well. And I'm not divisive and I'm not a butthole. And I know how long we've all been doing it and how hard we've had the ups and the downs. And when it comes to the audience side, I like to say what I've been grateful and I've always wanted this is I wanted a Dolly Parton career. From 8 to 80.
She's it.
Yeah, she's always been it. I grew up 45 minutes from Sevierville, and
you did.
Dolly's been the gold standard my entire life because it was so close to home. Because of her, I believed I could, and not in a way that everybody else is like, "Oh, Dolly." I mean, legitimately, it was the only human being close to me that I thought. And I say that like I was close to Dolly, but meaning it really was if she can do it, then I can do this too. Because where we're from is so remote and so rural. People don't leave; they just don't.
Right.
And so, she was the gold standard. And then when I got educated on the business, she really became the gold standard because she never gave up who she was.
Exactly.
And in the process, she still does appeal to an 8-year-old and 80-year-old, and that's
Mhm.
been my goal always
Mhm.
is I'm gonna be just me, and I always say I'm everybody's kind of best friend, and no wives are okay leaving their husbands with me, and husbands know if they flirt with me, I will come at them like, "What is wrong with you? Your
Yeah.
wife is so
Yeah.
sweet. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to kick your," and they
Yeah.
won't. And everybody's it's this beautiful community of human beings
Mhm.
that know I love them
Mhm.
like I'm grateful they love me. So I've
Okay.
been really lucky that I
Okay.
don't get every once in a while you get an ick. But you're like, read the room.
Yeah, and I see other young, beautiful women comedians who are just I feel sad. They're like a hunted animal sometimes. And I
You have
tell
to
the
just
I told
tell them.
I tell them, I said, "This is what I used to tell my crew when I worked in the movies. You know, if this cameraman likes you right now, just remember it's a location ship. It's not a
Oh,
relationship,
yeah,
and he's gonna go home to his wife and his
yeah,
kids." And so
honey.
honey yeah, and so I said, I would tell them, and I said, "If some producer," this was before Me Too, which makes me laugh because it's still going on.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I'd say to them, if a producer, if somebody, you come to me immediately and I will, and I was like a tiger mother. I was
Yeah, you
like,
jerk a knot in their tail. I used to be
yeah,
that way back in the day in the
jerking on
clubs.
their tail.
Well, I would. If somebody got
Mhm.
sassy, like especially comics, club owners, if somebody did something back in the day, and comedy's changed so much in a beautiful way, and I think
Mhm.
life is the same way too, but um, women comics, we've always kind of been pitted against each other. Comedy's a solo gig anyway. It's just what it is. People don't realize the level of competitiveness
Oh,
because
yeah.
people want to go up and be the person that killed, and you want to be hard to follow and
Mhm.
all of those
Mhm.
things. And I'm like, well, good for you. You ain't gonna steal my thunder. I've
Yeah.
always had this kind of quan of like, uh, I don't really care because you can't steal what God gave me. You
Right.
cannot steal it. You can
Exactly.
put me first. You can put me last. I'm gonna shine wherever you put me.
Yep.
I will
Good for
shine
you. Yes.
wherever you put me. And if you
Yes.
go in wholeheartedly knowing that what you've got, no one can steal,
Mhm.
you're good. If you go up and you're trying to be somebody else, if you're trying to
Yeah.
do other things, it ain't gonna work for you. It ain't gonna work for you. And
Yeah.
that's okay because you're still trying to find your way. Comedy's a
Mhm.
weird Karen Mills and I talk about this all the time, and I always say comedy is like a Rubik's cube. You'll get one side figured out. You're like, "Look at
Yes.
me, I'm killing it," and then the other, what is it, 6 sides? I don't know how many dang sides are on a Rubik's cube. 8, I don't know. Well, whatever. The rest of the
6
damn
total.
cube. Thank you, 6. Thank you. Math
I
is not
can't
my
do
gift,
it.
said y'all. Okay.
Not my thing.
I killed it at Miss Pac-Man in the '80s. I was not a Rubik's cube kid. Okay. But I always say you'll get one side figured out and the rest is a hot mess. And you get so stressed out because you're like, oh, I've got one, but now. And Josh Johnson, if you don't know who Josh
Oh,
Johnson
I know
is,
who Josh
okay.
Johnson is. He's amazing.
Josh is possibly my favorite comedian
Mm.
going with by a country mile, right? And the last 3 years. So prolific, absolutely brilliant, so smart, like painfully intelligent.
Mhm.
And he just did he solved a Rubik's Cube in 60 seconds the other day on his feed. If you haven't seen it, go on to
My
his Instagram
gosh.
and
My
watch how.
cousins could do it. I have very smart cousins. I mean, we
But
were all sort of smart, but not like them.
now it's a different level. And
Mhm.
by the way, he's talking the entire time, which is also shocking because I was like, my brain would shut down. But I say this to say, when you're really just concentrating on your Rubik's Cube, you're going to just shine. When you're worried
Yes.
about getting
Yes.
yours to look like other people's, you're going to fail every time. So just be you. It's okay if, people are like, oh, there's other blonde Southern female comics. Great. There's other black male comics. There's also other old white who cares? Go
Right.
do your thing and your people will find you. Your people
Yeah.
will find you. Don't
Yep.
talk yourself out of something.
Yep. Well, I am only me because, and I love you for saying that to I know a lot of comedians listen to my podcast. Listen, this woman knows what she's talking about. And you have to be, they say you have to be yourself because everybody else is taken.
That's right.
But at my age, at 70, I don't have a choice. I've had all the therapy and I've had all kinds of things happen in life and whatever that this is what's coming out. My hashtag should be no filter. This is all there is.
That's all there is.
I don't have
That's
another
all there is.
person.
No.
What's interesting is these young guys, I've been on some shows with young people and they're thinking, oh, here comes that grandma. And I would kill because I talk to them in a way they wish their own grandma talked to them.
Yeah.
And I am just who I am. And, people, I always used to say I'm the personality hire. Were you that? I'm the personality hire. So I might not know the most about this department, but you're going to have the most fun. I
That's what we say
promise you.
about my Labrador. Anytime we take my lab
Yeah?
anywhere, because he's just pretty. He's pretty, but he doesn't understand what's going on. I'm like, he's our personality hire. I had him on set the other day. A friend of mine was doing a photo shoot, and he's so beautiful. He goes, "Oh, will he sit for this photo?" I said, "No. He'll put his butt to camera because he doesn't understand the assignment. He's a personality hire because he's pretty and he's fun and he brings up the level of joy. And
Yeah.
I'd be okay being a personality hire this day."
I'm just as happy as can be. And when I did my special, my grandson was there, my 28-year-old grandson, and he came and he introduced me as what he used to call me, which was Grandma Fun Fun.
No.
Uh-huh. And when they first called me that, I
Is
gave
that
him
what
a
you're
five.
calling the special?
No, I didn't. I called it late life crisis.
That's cute too. Yeah, I like it.
And yeah, Grandma Fun Fun. And he introduced me, and well, I was so proud to have him there. And he's such a he's not because he's my grandson, he's a handsome kid. Everybody's like, whoa, you got some looks in your family. He's like a Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, honey, you're a beauty. What did they lose the plot? I mean, come on.
Well, when they see the young ones, they're like, whoa, they're still shiny and they got their bloom on and all that stuff.
I say if we're still shining when it has slightly got tarnished, that's when you know somebody's the business.
Okay. All right. I
Business,
love
Suze,
that.
business.
I'm
You're
gonna
the
write that
business,
down.
Suze.
Anyway, so when he introduced me, and he told people, she gave me a $5 bill the first time I said that. She said I said that to her, which I did because that's modification. That's behavior positive
Yeah,
reinforcement.
reward what you want repeated.
Exactly. And so, and in the movies, he said that once. And so in the movies, everyone called me Grandma Fun Fun. They'd call me on the radio and say, is Grandma Fun Fun in the wardrobe trailer? Where is she?
But by the way, what a phenomenal nickname. I mean,
I love it. I love it. I want to get T-shirts that say Grandma
you
Fun
need
Fun.
that. I'm a professional aunt, no kids. I have stepkids. I have 3 stepkids.
Yes,
that
I know
love and
you do.
adore.
And I wish I could have done that instead. Children are a crapshoot. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but they are.
That's how I felt. And I know that sounds horrible, but I know I was going to be the kind of mom that I would quit everything for my kids. So
Mhm.
I would have and then I would have resented them. I mean, it takes a lot for somebody to say that, in my personal opinion, and women aren't given that kind of grace. And I was like, you know what? If I have my own kids, I will resent the heck out of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I have friends right now
Good.
having a full identity crisis because they did not become fully formed people.
I know, my friends too.
And you hate
And
it
now
for
they're
'em.
grandmas. They became grandmas.
No, thanks. I ain't got that kind of time.
And
I've scared the crap out of my kids, my stepkids, because I said, I am way too fabulous to be a grandmother. So y'all need to just slow the roll. And I told them anytime after 30, I will be a little more open to it for them. They're all in their 20s. So I was like, anytime after 30, if y'all want to start having these babies. And I said, but here's the most important part. I love your mama. She's a good human. I'm married to your daddy. Clearly I love him. I said, but I'm nobody's grandma. Okay. I'm going to be Aunt Trish for life.
I love that.
And I don't care if the kids can't figure out why Aunt Trish is married to Pawpaw. That's for y'all to deal with.
Yeah, it's your job.
Yeah.
Yes. And, my grandson is 28 and he has this girlfriend who he lives with. And I said to them, do not make me a great grandmother yet. I am not ready for that.
But let me tell you something, Suze, you'd be the chicest great grandmother running the streets. You will be the chicest by a mile. And let me say, I'm not poo-pooing on grandparents. I think grandparents are like mine raised me. I would not be
Really?
who I was.
Oh, okay.
100%. I would not
I didn't
be
have
who I am.
that. Do you know what? I had a grandma who was a drug addict. She went to China to smoke opium and my grandpa died.
She sounds fun, though. I mean,
she was more fun than anybody. She was a redhead, and her hair turned white. And for the years when it was turning white, it was like pink. And she had everyone call her Pinky, which my mother was a very proper lady, and she did not like her mother being called Pinky.
That sounds amazing, though.
She
Pinky
was a lot of fun. She was a lot of fun, but I didn't have a lot of contact with her. She was out doing it. She liked boys.
Good for Pinky. I mean, you know what though? She sounds like she went and became herself when it was time, right? Like that was kind of her.
She did. She did. And she shouldn't have had children. She didn't want to have. It was too much.
But that was a different time, and that's why I say what a blessing that we don't have to have that hateful oppression in the now times. Like if it doesn't speak to you, be a doodle mom, because guess what? They're just as high maintenance as any child.
Oh my gosh. And does your doodle have allergies or skin things or any of that?
He has what we like to call poodle belly or doodle belly. So he's got a real sensitive tummy. So if he eats something, one thing, It's what? Sorry for the vomit sound, everybody, if you're listening
That's
to this
okay.
walking. He retches and gets sick to his stomach, and then, then he's
Yeah.
got to have food that's
Pumpkin,
yeah.
and then
And you gotta make
probiotics. and-
yes, see, Suze, you get it. It's doodle belly. He'll get
Yeah.
doodle belly at the
Yeah.
drop of a
Yeah.
hat, and he does get itchy, and he is snoring. Can y'all can't hear him? I should
Mars
pick up.
snores too.
Okay.
She
She's
under our
up-
bed. She sleeps under our bed, and she wakes me up.
He is right here. Thank God y'all can't hear it on this. No, you can't. Okay.
I can't.
He's laid down next to me where I sit on like a high top, like a bar to do my podcast, and he's laid on the floor next to me, just going. And I was like, "Oh, this is classy. Apologies, everybody. So if you can't hear,
Yeah.
great."
I said to my husband, "Do you think the dog needs a CPAP machine like you?"
Could you don't you say that? Although if you're going to do it, since you're the queen of licensing, you need to go license you some dog CPAP machines.
I should. And patents. We like a lot of patents in our house.
love a
We got a lot of
patent.
patents.
Good for you, honey. Own those patents. They change a life. Totally random. But the other day I was in a very nice hotel. I was traveling.
I prefer
in a nice
those.
hotel. I do too, honey. At this stage, your girl does not do anything but nice. I'm not built for
If
that
you go to
life.
Italy, if you go to Venice ever again,
yes.
stay at the St. Regis Hotel. When I
In
checked out
Venice.
of there in Venice, I was there for my birthday. I said, "Does anyone ever live here? Because I want to live here." And they said, "No one can afford to live here. Go there. It's the best hotel in the whole world."
Venice, St. Regis.
St. Regis,
Put
right on
it
the
my
water.
list.
Right on
Done.
the water.
We leave for Europe next week. I don't say that like
You're
I'm
taking
hoochie-doo.
Jace's mom, I saw.
Oh, we
You're
are.
such a doll.
My sweet little mother-in-law, y'all, is turning 90. And we asked her what she wanted to do. And I thought, did you want to have a party at the Coosa Country Club? Like, I thought she'd want to do, because she loves a celebration of life. I said, we can throw you a funeral while you're alive. You'll love this. And she goes, now that sounds tempting. Like, she got excited because she thought, oh, I'd
Say
love
the
to.
same thing.
Honestly, she'd want a 4-day revival, though. So I said, what do you want to do? We'll do it. And she goes, I think I'd like to go to Europe. And I said, well, really? And she goes, yeah. And I said, well, what do you want to do in Europe? I was like, well, let's make sure she's got all the right countries and the right places. And she goes, well,
Okay.
I'd like to go see where the Queen lives. I'd like to visit her house. And I said, she's no longer with us. And she goes, well, can we drive by our old house? I said, yes, ma'am, we can. She goes, and I think I'd like to see the Eiffel Tower. She goes, now we could just drive by that. I go, well, that's in a different country, but we can make that happen.
Close.
And she goes, and then I want
Take
to
the
see
shuttle.
windmills and tulips. And so we're taking her to Amsterdam. And then
Oh,
we're
you're going to go to Kuchenhof?
Yes,
are you going
we are.
to the
Kuchenhof. Yes,
okay.
you see. Oh, let me say, we have got 10 days that is jammed up jelly tight is the itinerary. This is not a vacation. Everybody goes, oh, how nice. I was like, oh, no. I will be
You're Rick
documenting.
Steves. You're Rick Steves. if he had long blonde hair.
I am crying. That's exactly. I'm Rick Steves. I will be on the all around the world and ay tour is what I call it. And I've got Jace, his little mama, and his 2 sisters. So,
it sounds like a lot of material is going to come out of this.
That's how I have positioned it mentally, because I'm like, this is such a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
And all I want to do is sit in the champagne bar at Harrods, but I can't.
Not a bad place to be. Mm-hmm.
Not a bad place to be, but I cannot.
I want the
will
candy.
be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the candy. I love a Harrods, y'all. I love a Fortnum and Mason. I could just
Me
sit
too.
in old department stores in London and
Me
live my
too.
very best life. It is the Southerner in me that I feel like I want to just sit and touch old textiles that I'll never make a pillow out of.
Wait, so you were telling me you were in a hotel and I interrupted you.
I'm so sorry. I was in this hotel.
I interrupted you because I'm the queen of that.
Okay, it's my ADHD. I'll forget and come
Me
back.
too.
But look at us.
I tell
right
people
back.
when your kid is 70, this is what she's going to look like.
Good. I'm here for it. Sign me
Okay.
up. So I was in this hotel and this guy's got on jeans and like a denim shirt and look, just, nothing crazy, special, put together, but nothing. And he's sitting there and I just finished a phone call. We're in a courtyard at this very nice property, courtyard of the property, not a courtyard Marriott.
Oh, no,
And-
that's not the same thing.
Not the same
Mhm.
thing. And he turns to me and he goes, you seem like a very put together businesswoman. I said, boy, do I have you fooled. And he got tickled and he said, you just ran that phone call like you had to be somewhere. And I said, well, I do. I've got to be on stage soon. So I don't have the time. I need to take a comedy nap, because if I don't take a nap before I go on stage,
Me
I'm a mess.
too. Me too.
Now, comedy naps for life. So he goes, well, I just love the way you handled that call. I said, I appreciate you. I said, what do you know about business that you knew to eavesdrop on my phone call? He goes, I own a couple patents. I said, I love that for you. I said, what's your favorite patent that you've done? And he said, the spring.
Spring?
And I said, come again? He owns the spring patent for the inside of a mattress, and I thought he was full of it. And don't you know, I called him on his hoopty-doo, y'all.
Sure.
Looked it right up right there at some has the patent for the spring. Because I was like, honey, enough people peed on my leg and told me it was raining. I'm going to look right now. And he sure as shinola, y'all, created the patent for the spring.
Wow.
And I said, well, how lovely is that? And he looked like was missing from, a Taylor Sheridan show. He just looked as normal. You know what I mean? Like nothing about him was like, I have generational wealth patent over here for the spring inside of a mattress. And he's like, girl, he goes, it was just happenstance. My daddy said I had to get something to fall back on. So I became an engineer. But I just like figuring out how things worked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, isn't this interesting? Just to meet somebody that was so matter of fact about the whole thing. And he was more tickled that I was just quick with everybody on the phone. That's how the whole thing started. He goes, you were just getting things done. And I said, well, Lord, there were 6 people on a phone call. It was a Zoom, to be fair. And I said, I just want to be done with it because I knew everybody had to be somewhere. And I can talk. And he goes, I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I thought, well, how interesting that if you looked at him, by the way, you wouldn't have thought he was staying at a courtyard. You'd have thought he was staying at a Courtyard Marriott. You wouldn't have thought he was at this hotel.
Well, people with real money, though, like my parents, they spent all their money, but my dad never my mother looked fancy, but my father never did. He never drove fancy cars. That wasn't his thing.
That's well, and I think too, I always say, and I was raised around, my grandfather was the first one, and he's a second generation born American. His daddy was first generation, right? Is that right? So Italians, mountains of Kentucky, you weren't expected to become a whole lot. And so he's the first one to go to college. He was kind of this and he became a banker and then president of a bank, which was like a hoop-de-doo thing in our little bitty town. Big deal. Yeah, a lot of big deals. And so he was always about just how you present yourself is how people receive you. And so it always resonated with me, even when he was like on weekends in casual clothes. His casual clothes were always pressed but put together, and not like he's not ironing the crease down the front of his jeans, which no judgment if that's your jam. No, not my thing. But he was always put together. And so when I even started in comedy, I was so nervous because everybody was like, "Oh, you've got to," I came up in the Janine Garofalo's era where everybody looked like they were homeless, and which is fine. And I'm pretty sporty, so I enjoyed a gorgeous, athletic top and a pair of jeans, but I didn't feel comfortable on stage that way.
Oh.
Up until right after the pandemic, I only wore dresses on stage.
I know because I've been following you for a long time, and I noticed that now you wear jeans with a little belt and and you've got arms, girl. You got guns. I love girls with guns, not just arm guns. I also like the other kind of guns.
Here, I'll give you a little, since we're now video, Suze. There they are. That's not looking big.
I'm working, so I lift weights.
Good for you.
I lift weights 3
it's
days
about
a
our
week.
Health. Yeah.
And now I can squat 90 pounds on a barbell.
Yeah, Suze, that's great.
No, I know.
It's really, strength is everything.
It is.
You got to be able to look. You just said, God forbid something happened to your husband. You got to be able to pick him up.
I can't pick him up. That's the thing. He's a big guy. I can't.
If you got to sit somebody up, there you go. But you've got to have the strength. Like I say all the time to Jace, my husband, I said, we've got these big dogs. If something happened and we were out, I have to be able to put him over my shoulders because I ain't going to be able to carry him like a small dog.
Yeah.
I'd have to figure it out. I'm like, you can't call 911 for animals. I wish I could. But
we should start a business for that.
I'm serious. I've said that for years. There should be a 911, like a mobile vet that they will come if there is a, God forbid, because I live out in rattlesnake country. And if something happened, I don't know. Now these poor dogs get walked in like boring neighborhoods because I'm like, sorry, y'all.
But that's all I do because I'm afraid of where I live in the town I live in, San Marcos, there's all these groomed trails that you can walk on. But when I walked on them, there were rattlesnakes.
Yep.
And I lived in New Mexico, which there were a lot of rattlesnakes there too, but there were a lot of space for them. Here, there's not so much space.
That's right.
And I'm afraid, I'm terrified. That's my only thing. I'm afraid of nothing, Trish. Nothing scares me. I will do anything, but a rattlesnake?
Yeah.
I will back down.
I'm with you.
One time I was in the Huzaw Creek in a canoe, and above us in a tree, there were all these black water snakes hanging down, like hundreds of them. And I said, please just hit me over the head with that paddle and knock me out.
Because I don't need to know about the rest of this.
I can't go under those snakes. And they wouldn't do it. I got out of the canoe. I walked up. There was like a trail along the creek, and I got up and I walked. I said, I am not going. I can't. I will die of fright. It's not happening.
I understand that. I understand. Look, I'm afraid of two things, and that's it. Big snakes, specifically, all snakes, but big snakes like your boas, your anacondas. I'm like, nah, because I can't. They're so big they could just squeeze you and you're done. That's
I know.
it.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Yeah. One
But
hug and
lizards. I don't like big, not little geckos. Those don't.
the ones in the garden here. There's lots of those.
Yeah, there's lots here too. Man, my doodle's obsessed. But it's the like iguanas, anything, because I really believe that they are just dragons choosing not to breathe fire at any moment. They're as prehistoric as they come. They look at you like, I'm choosing not to breathe fire and kill you right now. And I just don't trust a giant. Everybody's like, they're sweet. I'm like, good. I'm not coming at them. Y'all can live your life. But they've been here on
shut the door.
Yeah. They've been here way on this planet, way before we were ever even a thought. So,
Right. I know. I agree. There was somewhere there were monitors. Where was I? That those giant lizard things, and they could just bite your head off. And I was like, no, I'm not going outside. I'm going to stay here. And there's a bar. I said, I'm going to stay in this bar. And when it's gone, just let me know, because I'm not. And if it's not far. Oh, the other thing I'm afraid of is alligators and crocodiles.
Yeah, I understand prehistoric. I get this. Yeah,
they come out of that water like boom, fast.
Have you ever seen the sweet little man on the internet? So I just said like I'm 97. He's on Instagram that plays music for animals, and they'll like come to him and he'll sit. Yes. He just put up one last night. If y'all follow him, I'll have to put it in my stories for y'all to watch this. Not that this is coming out tomorrow, but he sang to alligators. And he is maybe 10 feet from their pond. He's on some kind of preserve. And when I tell you there's probably 10 to 15 of them, they just come out of the water and just sat and listened to him. And I was like, there is literally no chance. I would have had a full-blown heart attack and been, nah.
Dial 911 now.
Because they can move. They're fast as lightning.
Well, did you meet the guy in Marietta? He was there when I saw Karen Mills' show at Honest Fox's showcase, and he has the Southern Reptile Rescue, and he had a big like Hummer outside, and it's got like snake skin on it, and he teaches people, and he wrestles alligators. I had him on the podcast early on. I'm like, and he's a big guy. He's a big guy. So, alligator would have a hard time eating him as opposed to us. We'd be like a little snack. Yeah, but not this guy.
No.
Oh, that's what he does. Oh, you should follow him. I'll send you his stuff. He's the sweetest man.
I can't see it. If I see it, I freak out.
Anyway, all right. So I want to know a little bit more about you. First of all your TV gigs. I mean, you are the funniest. If everyone wants, just watch her clips. You'll be, I've gone down that rabbit hole so many times. You have a story about your brother and his wife, who he met at Disneyland.
Yeah.
She's Tinkerbell.
It's a good one. I need to pin that back to the top. I have not pinned. I had it pinned for so long, and I thought, I'm going to let that go. But
and
it's
then
got
your mother?
40 million views across all platforms because it's such a bizarre, true story. And what I also don't love is in this day and age, everybody's like, pictures or it didn't happen. I'm like, I hate to break this to y'all internet children. We lived in a time before a smartphone. And they have been married so long that this happened before They were married in 2007, y'all. That was the year the iPhone came out, in case y'all need to know for the history children.
And then you tell a story about your mom, and she cut her head open, and they'd shaved her head. And she looked like, what did she say she looked like?
She said it was true. My mom's a little persnickety, y'all. That's Southern for mean and hateful. And my mom actually said, I said, Mama, are you okay? Because they had to shave her head and get the glass out of her skull, to be fair to everybody. Mm-hmm. And she was cut out of the vehicle. And I said, Mama, are you okay? And she said, no, I am not okay, Patricia. They have shaved my head. And I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Just no, I look like Britney Spears when she had her episode. And I instantly got the visual. And then she got real quiet and she goes, but they've left a patch of bang. So she had this just weird alfalfa bang, like right up front, something about Mary, straight up. Oh, y'all, she looked a sight.
When you tell that story, I mean, I can see it. I can see the patch of bang, not bangs. Bang.
A bang. It was the wildest looking thing. And all I remember was the ER doctor being like, I don't know how she's completely fine. Like, she was cut out of the vehicle. She's black and blue, not a bone broken. I was like, because the Lord protects the wild, doesn't he? I was like, doesn't he just do it? Because this one, I say, if the apocalypse happened tomorrow, it would be my mom, cockroaches, and Robert Downey Jr., because that man has 50,000 lives.
He does. And I met him. I spent a whole evening with him.
Are you in love
with him? He was sober. I worked with Dennis Hopper. and
Oh,
he brought, him, it was a long story, but he brought him, he said, "My friend Bob is gonna drop off a video for us to watch tonight." And so when the doorbell of this beautiful hotel rang, I went to the door, I looked through it, and there's Robert Downey Jr. standing there. And I was like, "Whoa, Bob. Okay, Bob. I get it." So he came in and he ended up watching lots of Iron Man with us, and I'm a big fan of that. But anyway, he was funny. He was so funny, and he was sober. They were both sober, and, he was so funny and just I just want only good things because man, he has been through.
he has been through it, and he's so incredibly talented. Like,
He
those are the
is.
people that you go,
Yes,
"Oh,
yes.
thank you that whatever saved you, because your talent is what we
I
need in
know.
this world."
I agree. I so agree. I've met so many really talented people, and some of them are riddled with addiction,
I
and they
know.
don't get well. But the ones that sober up, or the comedians that have sobered up and really just ended up in the stratosphere, is that talent was able to override drugs and alcohol.
I
So
think that's so true. I think there's something truly I'm very blessed. I mean, I'm not Julia Roberts, but I think in the entertainment
could be.
business, and well, you're from heaven, and I'll take it. Look, I am really lucky that I chose this business because of the love of the whole thing. Like, I got in because I fell in love with Carol Burnett.
Me
Um,
too. Vicki
right?
Lawrence and all
Vicki
those guys.
Lawrence. I mean, what the very first thing I ever remember knowing I wanted to be a comedian was I saw Lily Tomlin on Sesame Street.
Yes, and she did the Edith Ann thing,
Edith
right?
Ann.
I mean, it's
Edith
that I'm
Ann.
5 years old and I
But
can't touch the floor with my feet and all of the
that's it.
Am I my
That's it.
dog Buster? Mhm,
I was in love. I was in
mhm.
love, and I
Me
kept
too.
saying to everybody in my family, "Who is that? Who is that? What is she?" And they're like, "Oh, she's an actress." And every time they'd say it, I'd go, "No." Like, real definitively as a
Yeah,
child, like,
yeah.
and I was the first grandkid. I was the first kid in the family, so I
Mm,
was the princess child. So they really were like, "What does she need? We don't understand." And I was like, "That's not it." And then I saw an episode of I Love Lucy, and I was like, "What is she?" And they're like, "She's an actress." I was like, "No,
no,
no." That, like, I was very aggravated, like, "You people are getting this wrong." Like, I knew, but I had no idea. And then,
'cause you knew funny.
I knew funny, and when I saw it was the actual sketch when she did the Gone with the Wind sketch with the curtains with the drapes. I can remember it like it was 5 minutes ago, and it was Carol Burnett coming down those stairs and
Yep,
to Harvey Korman coming down the stairs on,
yep.
the Carol Burnett show, and my whole family's crying, laughing in the living room. All my aunts and uncles, everybody, my grandparents, everybody's horse laughing, and I go, "What is she?" And my youngest uncle, so I was probably 5, 6,
Mhm.
he would have been 16, 17. He goes, "What?" And I go, "What is she?" And my uncle goes, "She's a comedian." And I can remember
Yeah.
that, like, that's it. That's it.
Mhm, mhm.
Whatever that is. And then not long after that, I got to see her win an Emmy. And I didn't know what the heck an Emmy was. I didn't know. But she was in this, like, darling Bob Mackie gown. She looked like a gorgeous disco ball.
Yeah.
And I thought, "Oh my, she's so glamorous, and what's she holding?" And I said, "Is that the comedian?" I remember saying, and they were like, "Yes, that's Carol Burnett." And I was like, and she's standing up there thanking everybody, and she's got this award, and she's carrying on. And I said, "What is that?" And they were like, "What?" And I was like, "What is she?" Like, I was like, "What is she holding?"
Yeah.
And they said, "That's an Emmy." And I was like, "A what?" And they're like, "An Emmy." I said, "Well, I'm gonna win an Emmy. I'm gonna win an Emmy. I'm 5, maybe 6." Walk around the house going, "I'm gonna win an Emmy." And they were like, "Okay, baby." And I was like, "I'm gonna win an Emmy." And I would
Yeah.
walk around prophesying that. And when you'd ask me anytime from that date to the date I won an Emmy, I would say, "I'm gonna have my own show and I'm gonna win an Emmy." I would just tell you that. Just declare it. That's what I'm gonna do. And when I won it at 35, I was sick in the bed for 5 days afterwards because I thought, well, what is there left to do? What's there
My
left to do?
gosh, tell us about winning an Emmy, because 'cause I've held them. I work with Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad, and he brought the Emmy to set, and I got to
Well,
hold
you
it,
know, they're
and
heavy as mud. There's like,
they
you
are,
could
you don't wanna
work
drop that in
out.
your toe.
Telling you, they winning that was, I won it with the show Clean House, which we
Mhm.
did. Niecy Nash, Mark Brunette, Matt Eisman, who's on American Ninja Warrior.
Uh-huh.
Niecy needs no introduction because she's from heaven. But we did it for Clean House and was so unbelievable. We were up against shows like because they put us in this weird category, which was like, who cares? I was like, we're not going to win anything. It was up against like Obama, the inauguration, cancer, how the cells beat cancer. And then it was like Rwanda. We're like, what in the world? How did we end up in this category?
Yeah.
We were in a category called special class special because no one had done a 2-hour special about clutter before, right? And I thought, well, we're not beating Obama. We're not beating cancer. Like I was like, it's fine. Let's go. They'll be good hors d'oeuvres,
But everybody's got clutter. Not everybody's got cancer, darling.
And there you are. So we were in the irony of it was the award show started, but we were late because it was the 1 year anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. I'll never forget this. And it was the Dodgers versus the Yankees at the and it was downtown LA. So it was just gridlock.
Crazy.
So we were late. The awards had started. And I think we were like the 4th award, whatever. But they were like, you need to stand and do your step and repeat on the carpet. And we were all like, like, they go, you have to do it. We have to do it now. We're like, fine. So we're out on the carpet. Doing our photo call, and they were announcing our award. We weren't even inside when they announced it. And Jeannie Mai, I don't know if you know who Jeannie Mai is. She's an amazing host and a super talented actress, just great. Jeannie Mai is an amazing human being. And Jeannie Mai comes running out to the lobby and goes, "You guys just won!" And I went, "Won what?" She goes, "An Emmy, for God's sake, Trish!" And we were all like, "Wait, what?" And we were just, I remember it being in slow motion because I was like, because we never even got to hear it called until we saw the repeat of it. We didn't get to, so we had to like run up on stage, and it was the whole,
oh my gosh.
And then our executive producer, who was, I don't know the word I could say that sounds kind, but not.
I understand.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me. I know.
She got on stage and is standing there. And I get that everybody didn't know how to speak. I get that. Not everybody has gifted. And we get up there and she starts thanking her cats. CATS, felines. Do you hear me? And I lean over to Niecy and grab her arm and I go, "You get up there and do something." She's thinking felines. Because I was like, maybe the audience will think for 2 seconds she's saying thanking her cast. Right? I thought, oh, she'll think cast. And then she's like, "Mr. Toonces, Fluffer." She starts naming her cats, and praise God for Niecy Nash. Honey, she just moved her over gracefully, took that Emmy out of her hand and said, "This might be the only time there is a Black woman up here tonight." So, I was like,
oh, good
thank
for
you, Niecy Nash. Thank you, angel from heaven. So that moment is seared in my brain because it was, A, it was hilarious. B, it was so unexpected. So.
Yes. And then you said you took to the bed for 5 days.
For 5 days, I took to the bed because I had always thought this was some faraway dream, right? That it was going to happen like way later. And not that 35, when you're 35, you feel like, well, I guess I've hit it. This is middle, like LOL.
I'm just getting started, I would say.
Please, I was a zygote. I was literally a splitting atom at 35. But when you realize that the thing you had put so much weight on, you achieved, and there were no other massive goals. I had no other far-reaching goals in the pipeline. For me, it was, and I didn't expect to be on this show. I only wanted to be a comic. When I was on Clean House, I got that job. I was on the road going to do shows internationally. When I got, I was in Barcelona, Spain. When I got
one of my
the phone
favorite
call.
places.
Oh my God, it's some heaven. I got the phone call. They said, "Hey, you need to come back. You are going to do this show, Clean House." Because I auditioned for it the day I was leaving, thinking they're not going to hire me. I didn't think. I tested with Niecy and everybody, and I felt the shake. I felt we both did. Niecy can tell you that if you called Nash right now, you get a feeling. You could call her right now and ask her what I was wearing in 2005 when I booked that show, and she can tell you all the way down to the sport bra of what I had on, because she said I knew at that moment, and I did too. To be fair, I was like, something just happened. I had that full body, like something just happened.
You know who talks about that? Leanne Morgan, when her acrylic went viral about in her stand-up. She was in New York moving Tess in, and she could feel something happening, and that's something you just can feel, the universe. You
can just feel it
moving.
Leanne's one of my nearest and dearest, and I love her.
I know. I listened to your podcast with her 3 times.
She's one of our favorite. I mean, when I tell you, and how I got to meet Leanne was such a unexpected experience because I thought I was just filling in for Karen. I thought I was coming
Yeah.
in to fill in, because Karen had, how it is. If you're
Right.
on something and you're like, oh, hey, this comic has a conflict, can you come? I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. I'm not working on Clean House at this time.
Mhm.
I'd love to. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't get to do comedy as much as I wanted because I was on Clean House so much at the
Sure. It's
time.
a full-time job.
Yeah, and I thought, "Oh, well, this would be amazing," and with
Mhm.
other women, normally,
Mhm.
as a woman as a female in comedy, it's very rare you get the privilege of being on a show with a bunch of women. So,
Yes.
take this back to 2006. I was like, "What? I get to do it with all these." Yes, like, yes, I think it was it might have been '07. I whatever, right around then. But, the point is, Ian was super sassy with me. And I
Really?
didn't well, because she was protective of Karen. I didn't know I was being brought in to replace Karen. I thought I was
Oh.
filling in because somebody had a conflict. So Leanne, being the amazing friend she is to little
Mhm.
Kay, was like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna like her. And
Yes.
I thought, why is this lady being so? I was like, does she not like my comedy? I thought, well, where'd she see me that she didn't like? I was like, I didn't know
What'd I
her
do?
either. Right, right. And I thought, well, this is weird. And I'd met Etta Mae, so I was with Etta Mae and Leanne, and not knowing I'd met Etta Mae in Irvine, California, and
No.
they were at the Improv, and they'd done a showcase for a bunch of people. I thought they were just going to rotate in a bunch of women
Mhm.
to fill in because people
Mhm.
had shows. When I tell you the level at which I was so naive and had no idea, we hadn't won the Emmy yet with Clean House. I was early 30s. I thought, well, this will be neat. And, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And
Wow.
so what Leanne was doing was being protective of her sweet friend, as she should be, because what was really happening was they were trying to put someone else in that they felt was a little more. They were doing Southern Fried Chicks was doing a special for CMT, and they wanted somebody
CMT, okay. Mhm,
at the
makes sense.
time, and y'all can remember, yes,
Mhm.
they wanted, and I was at the time too, y'all, just to give you the marker in the world. It was the early 2000s. We used to have all these clip shows where they would do these commentary shows where all these clips of like what was happening in pop culture or like child stars then and now, 20 worst celebrity arrests, all this ridiculousness. And I was on every single one of those. It was me,
Oh
Chelsea
my
Handler, Heather
gosh.
McDonald, like Ross Matthews, like we were all those people on those shows. So I'm sure they just put me in because they thought, well, she's different than these two, different than Etta
Yes.
Mae,
And
different than
variety is good in comedy, not all the
yeah.
same. Mhm.
So I'm assuming I'm just filling in and they're gonna, somebody else will be next and somebody I didn't think like I was coming in for the gig.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
not what I thought at all. And that's what they told me. Like you're just being
You're filling in.
rotated in. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that wasn't the case. And so Leanne was being protective of little Kay because they told little Kay, we're going to get somebody else on here. And then when Leanne tells me 2 days later what was going on, I was like, we've got it. Who can we fight? I was like, I was so angry. And then Leanne
Yeah.
was like, I love you. I'm so sorry. Classic Leanne. She was just like, Trish. And I was like,
Yeah.
Leanne. I was so miffed. I was
Mhm.
miffed because,
Mhm.
and as you know, Karen Mills is one of my dearest friends to this very
Right.
day on planet
Right.
Earth. Would never, I'm very inclusive in comedy. I don't think
Yes, and I
you,
have some comedy friends who I met starting out. I have a friend, Ala, who she was on the podcast. She's from Russia, and, she's in her own lane, and right now she's doing all these bringer clubs in Hollywood, and I don't know that that's gonna bring her what she wants, but I want her to. I'm going up with her. I go to her shows, she goes to my shows. When we got so popular, we used to give each other little gifts when we had a show together, but we've had so many shows. I mean, I was on the stage in 1 year over 100 times.
that's awesome. That's
And
what it's
well,
about though, repetitiveness, isn't it though, Suze? I
sure.
mean, really, it's just getting up and figuring
Yeah.
it out and
But you need those people like little K. Like, you need those people in your
you
lives. The
need
one
them.
person who was on the podcast who she was at your house is Paula from Nashville.
Sweet
Oh,
Paula Kozinski. Let
oh,
me tell you,
oh,
or Kaczynski. I say her name wrong every
Kaczynski?
time because
Kaczynski.
Paula, forgive me when you hear this. I love you
Yes,
so much,
I
and she
know.
knows I'll jack it up every time. Paula's the sweetest thing, and she's so talented. And I really believe it's about bringing each other up because I've
Mhm,
lived, my
mhm.
papa said it, I live by it, high tides raise all ships.
That's right.
You are not gonna win by pushing somebody else down. I
Yeah.
understand what it means to care for, and I won't go give you false confidence. If there's something, I don't want people to do that for me.
No,
I love when
be
people come
straight.
up. Yes, and if you hear something in my joke, like you hear I love when someone says, "Hey, you wanna try this tag?" And I'm like, "Love that.
Yes.
Love."
I love that.
If you're so precious about your stuff that you can't hear that from somebody else, get out of here.
Yeah, go do something else. Go work in
Now
an
you can think
office.
it's not funny. That's fine. I'm not saying you have to think what anybody says is funny, but it's real to me. That's what I love about comedy is it's that beautiful Rubik's cube of
Mhm.
figuring out what works and figuring out why it works. And
Mhm.
Karen Mills, I mean, Karen's one of the best joke writers I've ever known. Truly, one of the
I
best
have
there
to
is.
tell
And
something on this podcast what she said to me when I met her. I said, "I'm a new comic." I'd only been doing it a few months. I said, "I'm a new comic," and she said, "As only Karen could say." So you're thinking about getting into the comedy business, huh? And can you hear her say that?
100%, I can't.
And I said, yes, but I was thinking to myself, you're not making it sound so good. I mean, this is a heck of a time to start this, I realize. Anyway, but she just said that and her voice comes to me sometimes right before I'm about to get on stage. I hear her say that to me. And I
Oh,
think, yes, I am. I
yes.
can't help myself. I'm sorry, darling, but
You
she
know
is
what?
so
That's
good.
the best. That means you love it, Susie. That
Mhm.
when you really I say it all the time. I think that's why most and I'm generalizing, but for most comics who've done the time and love the art of it, I get upset when I see somebody on social media say I'm a comedian and all they're doing are funny sketches to a phone.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
art and I appreciate that what you're doing is funny. And I'm not saying you're
Right.
not a personality or
Right.
creative. No shade.
Yeah.
There's a million creators that
I
I'll
call
watch
them
and go.
clippers.
I
They can
call
make a clip.
they can clip it out, but
Mhm.
you get in front of somebody live and don't know how to move because I'll have people, come on. You have to have thick skin to do comedy anyway. It's why I don't
Yeah.
even remotely nothing
Mhm.
bothers me. It really doesn't. I
Right.
mean, state of the world bothers me more than somebody coming at my comedy. If I'm not for you, guess what? Scroll on, mother trucker. It's fine. It's fine. There's people that aren't for me, and I'm not going to sit. Somebody finds them funny. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just what it is, and I'm okay with that. And I think once you get okay with that, go live your life. Life is way too short to sit there and poo poo. And most people that are hateful are upset that they're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're
And
not doing their thing.
I had a housekeeper that told me once, somebody didn't when I was a kid, and I said, "Oh, so and so doesn't like me." And she said, "Susie, she was Southern, "do you like everybody?" I said, "No." She says, "Well, why do you think everybody's gotta like you?"
Well,
And
she's
that's
not
true in
wrong.
comedy.
She's not wrong. I know
Mhm.
I grew up, obviously, I'm a Southerner, a female Southerner. I grew up very people pleasy. So,
Me too, and I'm
yeah,
from the Midwest originally.
then you
So,
understand.
we're casserole, Jello mold. Jello's my favorite thing in the world, but, I love a Jello mold. I make
I love a
Leanne's recipe
casserole.
and I love a casserole,
I
and if
love a
someone's sick
casserole.
and they're not well, you bring them funeral potatoes.
Honey,
Or you
and if you don't crumble up a Ritz cracker or a potato chip on top, you
Exactly.
don't like them.
Yeah.
You've gotta get the good, a ruffle, something with some ridges, let it get golden brown. Yeah, well, it's on my website, but my grandmother made a corn casserole that would about give you a heart attack, and, every year at the holidays, Thanksgiving especially, put the recipe back up because people are like, "I've been making your Mimo's corn casserole."
Oh.
The truth is I put it up. I had a talk show at Fox. I've had every job, y'all.
You
And
have. That's
I
what
have.
I mean, I want you to go down the list of things. People you have not only is she an Emmy winner, I mean, she has done so much for her
Y'all,
short I mean, that's not a lot of time.
no,
The
I'm
hardest
over
working woman in
25 years in TV.
yeah.
I've had every kind of gig, and I loved daytime. That was my love
Mhm.
was, I wanted a Rosie O'Donnell show. I thought Rosie
Oh,
O'Donnell was
yeah.
back in the day, Rosie's talk show made me so happy. It was just so
It did.
happy.
Then it kinda soured.
And then yeah,
Yeah.
then it took a turn, but
Mhm.
I just loved the intention behind
Yes.
it and
Yeah.
all the things back in the day, right?
Mhm.
And then I was like, I loved daytime talk and in a happy way, not everything having to be divisive. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, obviously, daytime is dead.
Yes.
It is gone. So reinventing that and learning all the things. So I came from this weird world of syndication, which is very different than regular TV, and I
Mhm.
wouldn't even get into that, but that's a whole different animal.
It
And
is.
so I was in syndication world for 7 years, which means I had a hold deal, which means, uh, I was paid a lot of money to not work.
Yes. No one has ever done that for me. I've always asked for it. I would love it. When I worked in the movies and you have a contract and they have to pay you out your contract, even if they fire you if as a costume designer or wardrobe person. I mean, when I got smart, I had that written in.
Yeah.
And one time someone told me because I was helping an actress who had the stomach flu and they were trying to give her shots and they brought the doctor in, a doctor with a first name. Mm-mm. And I said, "You are not gonna give that to her." And she thanks me to this day. She's a good friend of mine. And I said, "You are not gonna shoot her with that stuff like Elvis. You are not. No. She's gonna go home and I'm gonna make her some soup and she's gonna get over this." And they said, "We could fire you for this." And I said, "Effing fire me," which of course my
Yeah.
whole crew gave me a mug that said that and it's spelled out. And I
That's
thought,
amazing. I hope you still have that mug.
I don't, it broke.
We gotta get you a new.
Anyway, I should get another one. You can get it made. But anyway, I thought if they would only fire me because they'd have to pay me and I could just sit home and make casseroles or do whatever, make cookies for the kids or something.
That's what I always say. I want to be a mediocre white football coach in America because they fire them. They fire them and they're like, here's your $14 million to sit at home. I'm like, I want to be a mediocre white football coach in America.
Yeah.
Because they will. And then what's worse is another school that's got a bad record hires them. And I'm like, have we
Double
learned
dipping.
nothing? Double dipping. And I'm like, this is so gross. Don't even start me. I could carry on for days.
So anyway, so you've done so many shows, Trish. I mean, okay, so you did. So tell us just some of the ones briefly that I know. I said a few, but there's when you said Fox,
yes, Fox. I had so many. I also was on The Office and Reno 911, and a lot of cartoons. I actually I'm in the new Ice Age movie that comes out in 2027, so that's exciting. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But my career has been what lights me up. Right. I've had some, as we say, and you know this from being in the entertainment business for so long, there's meals and reels. There's things that you do for meals so that your family's eaten. And there are things you do for the reels because you're so tickled that it's actually part of your history.
Yes.
I'm also the voice in a very, very successful video game called Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my gosh.
I'm in Grand Theft Auto 5, GTA 5. And it's funny because
my grandson that he's such a
when people come to the shows, I will have these weird factions of like 18 to 45-year-old men that come in like a weird huddle. And people are like, are you afraid? I'm like, no, they like Bobby June. And Bobby June is a character I played on Grand Theft Auto. Bobby June. Oh. She's a horrible person. And when we recorded, so Grand Theft Auto, if you don't know, is a weird video game. Not weird. It's a painfully successful. It's a driving video game, basically. And she is a radio. The games are so layered, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I recorded it in 2012. It was so Rockstar, the company that does Grand Theft Auto, unbelievable what they did. But they basically created a talk show, a radio talk show called Bless Your Heart, hosted by Bobby June, played by me.
Bless your heart, the 3 worst words you can say to a person.
Well, this was a very right-wing, Southern, dare I say racist, you don't have to, but it was so outrageous. Yeah. And it was so scripted. I want to say 8 hours of recording, meaning like they had guests on. I had a fake producer, but it was all done as it was absolutely real. I flew to New York, recorded the whole thing.
How fun.
So if you're playing the game for 8 hours straight, it would never repeat. So it was like listening to a real show. And when I recorded it in 2012, I remember thinking, this is so obnoxious and outrageous. And the stuff they were having her say, you'd be like, of course I'll do this because everybody's going to know this is fake, fakety fake, fakerson. Y'all, it could be on Fox right now. I'd be a award-winning Fox host. It's so outrageous that it's what's happening in our news right now. This character that I played, written by Rockstar, meaning I didn't make up a single word that came out of my mouth. It was very scripted, and it was very Nostradamus.
Oh.
If you ever happen to hear it, please know, because I get asked a lot to do cameos of her, and I will not. Because she's so diabolical as a human being.
Yeah. It's sort of fun to play the bad guy sometimes, isn't it?
Well, listen, I will say,
really.
Oh Lord, I couldn't be more opposite. That's why I agreed to do her. I thought this is so outrageous. No one will ever go, man, that could be Trish. And then I was like, oh dear God, I don't want anyone to get a clip of that and think that's anything. Because obviously it's my voice. There's no way around it. Yeah. But I was like, she's so unwell. But that's what's happening in the news right now. If you ever happen to hear this, Bobby June, and it's on Blaine County radio. When you get in the car, there's a bunch of radio station options, and she's on Blaine County radio. But that was probably the wildest of all the kind of touch points. Like, to be on The Office was huge because I recorded a long episode and they cut it down to this scene. And I was so excited to be on the episode because I was woven through the whole story. And then what gets edited was literally.
I know. It happens all the time.
All the time.
I know.
But what an experience.
Yes. Oh, I would love Steve Carell. Just, it doesn't get better than that as far as I'm concerned.
Steve Carell and I love Rainn Wilson and John Krasinski. Like, everybody, BJ Novak. Like, there's not a bad, like, that was the A team. And everybody was, even Ed Helms when he came in, like, there's not a bad player in the lot. Speaking of Steve Carell, are you watching Rooster on HBO Max?
I haven't started yet. I try to get my husband into it, and he goes, I don't know, but I love him. I've watched everything he's ever done.
Okay. So. It's possibly one of my, I haven't watched Shrinking yet. This is the Shrinking. I've got to get into Shrinking. My husband and I get into, like, you can't start it without me kind of shows. And that's
we do the same thing. We watch a lot of the same stuff. So, yeah.
So please watch Rooster. And we were just in the Bahamas in the beginning of March, the day it premiered. And we were renting a house next door to this very hoop-de-doo resort in this little tiny island in the Bahamas. And Steve Carell was at the resort with his family. And he's a very private person. And it was right up there with seeing Carol Burnett. One of those moments where I've never met Carol Burnett. If I did, I'd probably just fall over. I did meet Dolly. We'll have that conversation later. But Steve Carell, I was like, my husband was like, I wish I would have recorded this. I jumped Susie. We're walking normally through this very, very high-end resort that's very remote. I jump off the normal walking path like a normal human being. Like, I could have just kept walking to the restaurant.
No.
We're walking from the ocean to the restaurant.
No.
I jump behind a plant. What? Like, Steve Carell cares about. I jump behind the plant. And my husband's like, what are you doing? He keeps walking. He goes, what are you doing? Because he realizes I'm no longer with him.
Yeah.
And our friends are way ahead of us walking into the restaurant. And he's like, babe. And Steve Carell is, I believe, I'm guessing it's a family member, maybe a child, grown child. And would I appear to be his spouse? I'm like, I don't know any of the players, so forgive me. But I was like, I just jump. And I'm standing there. And my husband goes, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. It's like I suddenly became Steve Carell. It's like I was like, what's happening? Why am I would never do that, y'all. I'm such a casual. Who cares? I live in Hollywood. I have for a very long time. I don't care about celebrities. But when you realize it's somebody you genuinely want to go, I adore you. I simply jumped behind a Monstera plant on a path.
That's a big plant. Good.
It's a big plant. And Susie, I am wearing a white linen cover up. And I'm like, I am not noticeable with my big hat. And my husband's like, please act like you've fallen. Do something. And I was like, no. And I didn't know how to get out of it. It was so embarrassing that out of nowhere, I just decided to do that. And he looks over and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And I go, found it. And I acted like I had lost like sandal. Yeah. I go, found it. I found it. And my husband's like, I
did you say anything to him? Did you address him?
No.
I know. I because I worked with so many celebrities, I vacillate between giving them their space and letting them eat their dinner to absolutely gushing and falling all over them.
Think you get it. So I just wanted to say to him at that moment, because it was just like, the great news was I hadn't seen Rooster. Had I seen Rooster, I'd have been up in his nose holes. I'd have been like, listen, some of your best work of all time. Like, I would have literally come unglued. So it was perfect timing in that regard. But I did, as we were walking by, I was like, I waved the flip-flop at his whole family as if, hello.
Hi.
I was just cringy.
Emmy winner.
It's cringy. Emmy winner.
Emmy winner.
We're both, look at us. Look at us. Please. Sing Beyond. I was like, also on The Office, one scene non-memorable. I mean, could you imagine?
Oh, yeah. I don't know who I would do that. I've never met Leanne. I went to see her and Karen when they were in LA at Thousand Oaks. And we took us 5 hours.
I was there at that show.
I know. And Jared was going to try to get me in, but I didn't get to. As long story, I couldn't have done it anyway. It took us 5 hours to get there. There was a huge traffic jam. And we just got there in the middle of Little Case, and I hate to walk in the middle of a comedian set, but
I know, it's
I
all
did.
right.
So anyway, I would probably feel that way, or Nate Bargatze, who I have tickets to go see him because I do also go see comedy because I
It's the
love
best.
comedy.
2
Nate,
great human beings.
yeah, I know. I will listen to this podcast. He and Walker Hayes. Do you know who Walker Hayes is? He's from Nashville. Remember the
Hayes.
song about Applebee's on a date
Yes!
night? Okay, so they're
Yes!
supposed to. They wrote a song together, and I'm waiting for that to come out. That was years
Precious.
ago. They're supposed to. Anyway, I did meet Walker Hayes. I spent the evening with him. He was delightful.
But
But
that would be it, Leanne and,
Leanne and Nate is
Nate,
probably. Let's see who else.
that you get freaked out over?
I would be tongue tied. Like when I met Robert Downey Jr., I wasn't expecting him, so I don't think I talked for the first 30 minutes except to say hello. I was a very shy child. I am not now, but I was a very I have a report card that says Susie has not said a word all quarter.
You're kidding me. Well, like
Very
elementary
shy.
school, you were
Mhm.
little. Oh, I love that. I got participates actively. That was code for shut up, be
Yeah.
quiet.
And my teachers were I had some wonderful teachers. One teacher said, who wrote that, she said, "You know, you're the smartest person in my class." And I said to her, "Should you be saying that?" And she said, "Well, I wish you would let people know how smart you were." Well, in my grow up, where girls weren't supposed to be smart. We were supposed to be downplay that. So anyway, but
I
I
love
came
that.
out of my shell.
Yes,
Um,
you have.
oh, definitely. Now it's no filter, no nothing. Anyway, all right. I better ask a few more questions because we have,
Yes, oh gosh.
this could be the longest podcast in history.
I'm so sorry.
And
I know your
no, don't
producer's
be
probably like,
sorry.
"Dear Lord,
No,
these
he
2."
gave us 2 hours today, so he
Oh,
knew who he
good.
was
Well,
dealing with.
we'll move it right along.
So
We're
what is
sorry.
coming? Okay, so now that you're not in bed, you have to, you're not out of bed after blaming. What is next? What are some of your goals now?
Well, it's interesting because our business has shifted, the entertainment business has shifted so much, and I think if you're not paying attention, you've gotta pivot and pay attention, and
Mhm.
for me, I love comedy and I love live,
Mhm.
that will never change. I
Mhm.
think that's probably one of the most important, but for years, I used to always like, "Oh, I don't know necessarily know if I wanna act." If it's right and it feels right, I'm here for it. Like, that's the
Okay.
difference. I love like, if I say all the time, if tomorrow I could do anything, it would be on Ted Lasso. Like, Ted Lasso to
Oh,
me was
my
the greatest
oh, okay.
greatest.
Jason
Bill
Sudeikis, I would probably be tongue-tied if I met
Oh,
him.
if Jason Sudeikis and I were in the same room, I'd be like, "Listen, I feel like you and I were meant to be brother and sister. Like, we were
Mhm,
supposed to play
mhm,
brother and
mhm,
sister. I
mhm.
don't know how we're gonna do it. I don't care if it's like, the Eastbound and Down White Trash brother and sister, or if it's the sweet Ted Lasso." I'm like, "I'd make a darling Trish Lasso." I had a whole storyline written. I was like, "Listen, I could be the sister of the family," because my whole
You're
theory was they
killing
never
me.
told us why his daddy died. If you've
Yes.
seen Ted Lasso, his dad, killed himself, and they don't tell you why. It's just this weird. And I was like, because he had a whole second family, and I'm Trish Lasso. And then she goes and has a whole same trajectory as Ted because genetics are wacky. And she's just as sweet and fun, but she does women's soccer, women's sports, and then ends up coming over. And then I don't know if you know, I'd made this whole thing up. Like, because when Ted Lasso ended, when was that? 2022 or whatever it was. I was like, I refuse to let this be the truth. I said, they
Yeah.
will come back. Mark the
They
words
are
coming out
coming
of my
back.
mouth. And honey, they're coming back with a women's soccer team. So when I
And
tell
I
you,
wrote that too. On his fan
prophesied.
page, I wrote, "It's not over. What he should do is move the whole show here, a women's team here, and then the English can all come over. He can be with his little boy. He doesn't have to be away from him." Do you think he's gonna get back together with the wife? That's what I
I
wanna
hope
know.
not. I hope not. She's on
I
Leanne's show though. She's darling. She's on
Yeah.
Leanne's sitcom. She's
Yeah.
so
You could
sweet.
be on Leanne's sitcom. That's what I thought. I thought, doesn't she need a cousin or a somebody that
Leanne and I, yeah, and we're magic together. She's an
Yeah.
amazing human. But they're wrapping this week. She's wrapping out season 2 this week.
Wow.
I
Wow.
know.
That
I
went
know.
fast.
It went real fast.
Well,
So
I see you're talking about her tour, so I figured she must be almost done. So
yeah,
they must
she's
have done
wrapping
that
it
in
out.
record time. January, yeah, I guess, yeah, it's April, yeah,
Well, she's gotten, I think too, I mean, you get so comfortable once you know what you're dealing with, right? In anything. Once you kind of have that, and season 1 was so fantastic that I think
yeah.
once you get that, it helps build the magic.
And Jerry Seinfeld said something to her, I think that was so important. You have a show that is your name. very few people in this industry.
It's
So why not
everything.
Trish? Let's do Trish.
Honey, let me tell you something. I enjoy, I always said if I had something, it'd be called Yes, Sir. Because as a woman, it's such a funny last name to have had to deal with. And people always go, "Is that your stage name?" I was like, who would pick that? Who would go, "I know," and then let me spell it real wackadoodle so nobody ever gets it right.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah, I
Well, that's
know.
why I don't use my maiden name. And when I was in Second City, they didn't use my maiden name. And my husband's name is Italian with every vowel in it.
What is
and
it?
is the Terzuola.
Terzuola. That's not too bad.
And your
Okay.
brother probably knows. We know lots of Navy. Is he in San Diego, your brother?
No, Virginia
No?
Beach.
Okay. Well, we know a lot of Navy SEALs. I mean,
Yeah.
we know a lot
Well,
personally.
of course, right by Coronado. They're right there.
Right. But we're up in North County. We're in the suburbs because, I don't need to go downtown with all that's going
No,
on
it's
down
too much
there.
going on. Too much going on.
Yeah. Same with LA.
Yeah.
And anyway, so all right. So whatever comes along. But would you like a sitcom? Would you like to host your own show?
I think for me, I would love episodic television much more like a Ted Lasso or a Rooster. Or Bill Lawrence is my dream sequence, who is the executive producer of all of those shows.
Okay.
The aforementioned shows, also Shrinking and Scrubs, and
Right,
he's just brilliant,
right.
and I love his humor. And I think that for me would be great. I would love to do something where I maybe go back and have to run my family's funeral home after being away. I always say it's a little Sweet Home Alabama. If you remember Northern Exposure, I love Northern Exposure.
Yes.
Because it's just things that drive you nuts about small town living, and there's things you absolutely love about small town living.
We're just finishing up Schitt's Creek. Did you ever watch
one of the greatest shows of all? Have I seen it? Let me tell you something. One of the greatest characters ever written, ever conceived was Moira Rose.
Yeah. Oh, and I wear a lot of black. And when I get dressed, sometimes I think, is this too Moira-ish?
I love you. Let me tell you, we could only hope. I always say that when I over accessorize, because I love an accessory, and I'll put something on. I'm like, there you are. Moira would approve.
This is nothing.
Sue's Moira would approve. I love and and the irony with my accent. If I say, I'll say it. And if I say normal, she doesn't understand me. But if I say it as Moira, she understands me. So if I go, Alexa, what's the weather?
I don't have an Alexa. My brother did, and they got it for him when he was sick. And when he used to sleep, I used to sit in the living room and just jerk Alexa around. It was my favorite thing. And one time I swore at her because she just couldn't understand what I was saying. And she said, I don't talk to you that way, Susan.
Listen to her. Listen to her. I know. Isn't it funny that you go, oh my gosh, she's being real serious? Because sometimes I'll go, you're on my last good nerve. And she'll go, why are you so upset, Trish? And
I know.
Girl, you need to dial it back, sis. Because she starts giving me weather for the places we're not in. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you randomly talking? Because I'm like, what's the weather? And she's like, it's snowing. I'm like, we live 10 minutes from Malibu. It's not snowing. I'm like, what? What in the world?
Yeah. All right. One more subject. Dolly Parton, a friend of mine who's a comedian, JJ Barrow. She was on the show about a month ago. Do you know her?
Karen Mills is like, you and JJ need to meet. I love her. I love her art. I think she's
okay. So I'm going down to Tennessee. When I go down to Tennessee, she promised to take me to Dollywood because I can't.
You've never been?
I have never been to Dollywood. I know all these northern Midwestern. Like, what do you want to go there for? And I love country music. And people are like, what's wrong with you?
You're going to be prepared. I would do a 2-day. I would stay at the Dollywood Resort. And I would do, I'd do a 2-day. I would do it. Although Dolly's new hotel, listen to me, you'd think I need to be one of her brand ambassadors. I swear, I don't know how I'm not. I really don't know. I don't know how they've missed the mark with me because I think she's baby Jesus, as we all do. But Dolly has a new hotel opening in downtown Nashville, Storyteller. I believe it's called Storyteller. Is it called Story? Or is it Songbird? Lord, I'm having a senior moment. Anyway, she's got a new hotel opening and it'll have a Dolly museum in it. So maybe one day they are on the way out, because you could fly in and out of Knoxville, but I would go stay at the new hotel too. So, anywho, Dollywood Resort is worth it because Dollywood, it's not that it's a lot to see. It's not like Disneyland in that regard, but it's the Smoky Mountains are special, and I would go in the fall. Yeah,
the Smoky Mountains. My folks lived in North Carolina the last 30 years of their lives, so I've spent a lot of time in those mountains. And
that's my home. That's my home.
Yeah. And I often say I'd move to Tennessee if they could just get rid of that snow they have.
Well, it's not bad in Knoxville. Knoxville,
Really?
where Pigeon Forge and all that, it isn't,
Mhm.
because I grew up right there, and
Okay.
because of the way the Appalachians are right there, it's almost like it's a weird buffer. Now, it gets cold. It gets hateful cold. Like, your snot freezes sometimes hateful cold, but it doesn't get we don't get the snow. You might get a weird light dusting, and it's gone.
Mhm. Okay. I have a lot of
So,
friends who live in Knoxville. I mean, I don't know why I'm not in the South. How everyone I love is from the South. I mean, not
listen, I
only
did my
people who are
time. I did my
yeah.
time. I love the South. I will fight somebody over being Southern. I love it. I always say I put the Southern in Southern California because I I am a lifestyle person. I love the
Mhm.
mountains and the ocean. Like,
Mhm.
and that's why I probably love where we live so much here. Like, my house backs up to the Santa Monica Mountains.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, for me, that same love of being in the Appalachians, but I can be to the beach in 20
I know,
minutes.
because I need my vitamin C, SEA, baby.
SEA, Suze, let
Mhm.
me preach on that. I have to have the sea and the mountains. I would say next stop for me would be like Italy or Spain, because it's the same I love the weather of the Mediterranean.
And I yeah, I do too, and I used to teach art in, Florence, and, I spent a lot of time in Italy, and we got married in Rome. My husband and I got married in Rome.
Okay, listen, the next podcast, because I realize we're almost at an
Yeah,
hour.
I know, we
The
are.
next time I'm on with you, which I'm telling you, look at me, I'm already inviting myself back. I'm just going
You're
to interview
invited
you.
back. You can move
Okay.
in as far as I'm concerned.
I'm so tickled now that you have the studio. I sure
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Listen, and I'll waller Gigi because I love a doodle.
Well, where's my
Listen,
Gigi? Wait, I gotta get her on her. Gigi, come here. Gigi, you want a treat? She's sound asleep. You think she's gonna wake up?
but
No,
mine's sound asleep.
she's snoring.
I have
She's
both
so
of them.
lazy. I'm not gonna get her.
Yeah, mine aren't. They're laid over here, passed out on the sofa in the studio, passed out. But I say this because I want to interview you. You have lived 19 lives.
I have.
And I think there's something really special. And what people don't realize, that's why you can, in 2 years, go shoot a special. Because when you have the gift of experience and living a life, it's far easier. The things that stressed you out when you started comedy in your 20s, if that's when you started it, are not the things that are going to stress you out in your 60s. It ain't going to stress you out the same. There's different things that might stress you out, but it's going to stress you out different. And so, what a blessing to be able to have those seats. So I'm gonna, if you'll have me on to interview you.
Okay, you can do that. You're perfect at it. You're just, yes, of course.
Okay, good.
Of course.
I would love
Yes.
that.
I just can't thank you for giving all your time and your stories and your
Honey,
heart. And darling, I have been following you like a sick stalker for so long. And Karen and Leanne
Karen.
and JJ. Oh, we gotta have a group of us who love Dolly get together
Oh,
for a
let
for
me
a.
tell you.
Oh,
I know I've started now the new tour I'm doing. I'm talking about the day I met Dolly on stage.
oh,
And it is, for me, it's like, it's not your traditional, like, look at me, I'm telling jokes. It probably feels like, for some people, more of like a one woman show. Not that I'm certainly doing a one woman show, but it's the one joke that I have, not joke, story, that it, it, I think a lot of people need to hear it right now, because the day I met her was the day that I was like, I'm quitting all television. I'm quitting comedy. I'm quitting everything. F this.
really?
I'm going to move back and work at the family funeral home. Yeah, it was that day. And I was like, boy, doesn't God do it. Like, when you need to be shown on the day that you're like, I'm out. I'm out of here. Like, God, you better give me a cleared sign that I can't jack up. Like, and to me, there was no clearer sign than, hey, I'm going to let you have 3 minutes of alone time with Dolly Parton randomly. Like, it was one of those moments in life that you're like, okay, I'm paying attention, because that was the line in the sand for me of, I'm changing the
Wow.
way I do business.
Wow. And
I
did
was,
she give you any advice?
I was quitting comedy that day. I was like, I'm done
Mhm.
with this. I don't want to do
Mhm.
this anymore. This business stinks. You know what it was? It wasn't advice. It was my girlfriend, Katie Cook, who used to be an interviewer at CMT for 25 years, unbelievable host, and has interviewed Dolly probably
Oh,
more
yeah,
than
I know who
anybody.
that is. Mhm.
Katie's from heaven.
Mhm.
And Katie and I've always joked for years that we need to co-author a coffee table book called The Day I Met Dolly, because everyone, I
Oh.
don't think that I have some, exclusive experience. I think everyone that's been lucky enough to have a real meeting with her has this. It's like being with someone that's anointed, truly. And I
Right.
mean that
It's
from a way.
life-changing. It's an
It
event.
There's something
Mhm.
about her. I've got cold chills talking about it. There's something about her that's
Me too.
ethereal. Ethereal. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
something in her frequency as a human being and how God made her. And I don't care what you believe, when you're in her presence, you go, whoa, whoa, something just occurred. And my biggest takeaway from meeting her was her being so inclusive, as if we had done all this life together. Because my friend, I'll spare you the long story because it's about 15 minutes, but
next
time. But the point was, she said, can you believe we were sitting at this event during an Emmy weekend, and he introduced me to her, and I said, nice to meet you. And she said, whereabouts are you from? And all that could come out of my mouth, because I was so in shock that it was Dolly Parton, was I said the Gap. So where I'm from, the Cumberland Gap is
Cumberland Gap, right?
Yeah. And so all that came out was the Gap, because I grew up where Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia come together in the mountains of the deep, dark parts of the Appalachians. And that's all that came out of my mouth. I just literally went, the Gap. Oh, like I was stroking out. I mean, to this day, I'm like, oh, Trish. And she grabbed my hand and said, well, baby, sit down. She scooted over, because she could have easily been like, that's lovely. She could have dusted me right off.
You off, right?
Yep. And I would have received it, not my read a room really well. And I was just like, and she's still holding my hand, and she scoots over, and I sit down next to her, and she goes, and we're looking at this Emmy party. We're looking at all this Hollywood magic, smoke and mirrors hoopla. And she's sitting there right next to me, still holding my hand with the butterfly ring. Hold my hand. And I'm like, what's happening? And she goes, can you believe 2 little girls from the mountains are sitting here in all this?
Yeah.
And just made us inclusive of each other.
Same
literally
level.
Yeah. Exactly. And 2 little girls from the mountains are sitting here in all this. And I can remember, I cry every time. I can remember thinking, how do you still see it this way? How do you, Dolly Parton, still see it this way? And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe any of this. And she kept holding my hand. I have a snot bubble. Sorry, telling you this story.
Right.
And I can tell this happened in 2017, and every single time I will bawl my eyes out, because it changed that moment in me. I went, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm meant for more. She did not sit here and say all this, and she wouldn't let go of my hand, which was also like, what is happening? And I wasn't about to jerk my hand from Dolly Parton.
No.
I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And my friend was like, she just loves you. And I'm sure Dolly gets that 7,000 times a day. And as graciously as she could, and he said, can we get a picture? I was not saying anything. I just literally, I could feel her squeezing my hand, because she wasn't sitting there like, okay. She was squeezing my hand.
Yeah.
And I fully had this moment of like, I receive what's happening right now. I receive what's happening right now. And we take a picture. And by the way, we're in this weird dark corner at this party, and she's lit from the front and behind, and purple lights around her when you see the photo. It's like literally like some weird aura ring was, and I'm like staring. I don't even know where the lens was on the camera. I look like I might be unwell. I'll have to find the picture, y'all. Because it's hilarious.
I want to see that picture. Oh my gosh.
But the point of that was that as I stand up and I said, thank you for your time. And she's still holding my hand. And she said, well, honey, us mountain women have to stick together, don't we? And she goes, and I know I'll be seeing you. And I thought, what has just happened? And it was this weird moment of I know and believe in every fiber of my being, she was sent for me to not quit at all. Because I was fully like, I'm out of here. Bye.
Right. And, I've had those moments, but to have someone that kind of graciousness, to be, not only did you receive it, but you will give that back to someone else. It's life-changing.
Susie, let me tell you, 100%. I've always been a person that I care for people well. I try to, and I genuinely mean. I'm not one of those annoying cheerleader people that don't mean it. I'm like, you're doing great. No, I'm like, you've got this, and you do have this. And I want you to know that it's not linear, and not everybody's going to get it the same way.
Right.
That moment for me was, I know 110%. This wasn't put in me. God doesn't put something in you that wasn't for you. Right. Never once have I wanted to be an ice skater. Never once did I think I was going to have a patent for a world's most amazing knife.
Working on my latest patent right now. Go on.
It's not been put in me. What he put in me is not what's in somebody else, and that's okay. And I thought, and mine's never been like, I'm going to be the most famous person. Fame is a byproduct of doing what you love.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
you love will change your trajectory. And that moment of her making everything inclusive to us,
Mhm.
which I know Dolly didn't know me from a can of paint. I say this because I called Katie that night and left her a video voice message. And 2 days later, she was interviewing Dolly. And she shows Dolly the video of me crying. And I have the video of her showing Dolly. So I say all this to say there's a whole point to this full circle. And look, Dolly was there to promote one of her Christmas specials. You know, Dolly's working machine. She's the OG branding IP.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. There's nobody that knows branding and money making like Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
So I say this because I'm sure it didn't land for her the same way at all. But in the moment, Dolly is a very right here in front of you human being, even though there's a bigger picture all the way around. Right. And so that for me was that moment of when Katie showed it to her and she goes, "Oh my gosh, yes, she was it all. She probably didn't remember me from a can of paint." But the point was, it was this full circle.
I get it, girl.
We're all that close. We're all that close. You're always one phone call away. You're one yes away. So don't go quit the thing that God put in you. Don't quit it.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I'm going to end on that because it can't end on a better note than that. And you're coming back. And when I'm going up to LA in May for the Netflix is a Comedy thing, I'll be up there to see Mike Birbiglia, who is
what a talent. What a talent.
Well,
I haven't got tickets
go
to
there.
anything. I didn't get tickets to anything. I probably should go look at that. Like friends that shows are doing it. I was like, great. I'm not on any of the shows. This is the last year of it. It's done after this. So
yeah. Okay.
This
well,
is the
it's
very
a lot,
last year.
and I don't even know where I'm going to. I don't even know. I haven't figured that out yet. But I wanted to
Let
see
me know
him
when you're
live.
up here.
I will,
because I'm
hope
on the
you're
road
there.
a couple times in May. So I would love that. I know. I was like, I looked at the schedule. I said to Kay, because Karen and I are on the road together, and then I'm like, and I'm doing the Athens Comedy Festival first, like May 1st with Karen. I'm excited. Athens, Georgia, and Karen Morgan, who's also another unbelievable comedian.
Yes, I know her too. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So we're doing that. And then I'm with little Kay on the road. And then I'm all around the world now. Yeah.
You know, and you say little K, and Kay, Karen, I'm going to tell you this. You might be small in stature, but there is nothing little about you.
Nothing little about Kay.
She is like a little tornado, or I don't know what
powerhouse.
to call it. I mean, she's an amazing woman. Amazing story.
One,
but anyway.
Look, I'm 5'2", and she makes me feel like a supermodel. She's one of the tiniest.
Well,
how tall are you?
Well, now I'm 5'3.5". I used to be 5'6". But I have
the
this
shrink
thing
is real.
Osteoporosis. Yeah, I'm going to look like a bobblehead soon. Just my head's going to be at my waist.
I told my husband, I was like, I need to buy one of those inversion, tables where I can just hang upside down and try to get some of this height back. But Karen's, I'm 5'2", and she's tiny.
Yeah,
she's
tiny.
She's
tiny. When I have a picture of us together, and I feel like, I don't know, the Incredible Hulk next to her.
So I always say when we're next to each other, everybody's like, "You're so tall." I'm like, "No, Karen's so tiny. She's tiny, tiny, tiny."
But she is not little.
No. We say that with love and affection.
Leanne's
has always said it because we could put her in. She's like, "Lord, I could put you and Trish and H in a little pocket." Because Leanne's 5'10".
She's a big girl.
Yeah, she's so tall. And it was always funny because people think I'm tall because I'm all leg. And so then they meet me and go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were so short." I was like, "I have no torso. It is literally boobs, a belly button, and a hip bone."
I used to have one, but it's
never
gone.
have
I come in, they say, we got to work on your core. I said, how about working on my torso? Where did that go? I can't find it. Did someone come in the middle of the night and take it? Where did it go?
I would have loved. I've never had one. And my husband and I have the same inseam, and he's 5'11". He's got a long torso and little bitty legs. I said, we were getting jeans once, and the girl goes, "What do you need?" I said, "Can you bring me out a 31?" And my husband goes, No, that's what I wear. And I said, "What are you talking about?" And I go, "No, that's what I wear." And he goes, "No, she's a 31.
Yeah, and I'm
he
all
came
legs too. Yeah.
Flying out the door. He flipped out. I was like, yeah, how about it, long torso?
All right, honey. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you.
I want to tell people to thank you for listening. I'm back now. We're in season 3. We started out as only audio with my husband, and it's morphed into what it is. And Jared and the boys, kicked him out and said, "We love you, but you're not adding anything to this."
Listen, sometimes you got to have an outside force. That's all right.
Those boys, they have eyes on me. They have been developing me, which makes me laugh. I'm developing.
Hey, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, for the fact that they even want to work with me is a miracle.
They're awesome.
Thank whoever. All right.